Welcome back on the podcast. A regular guest, Dan, you're getting to like Chevy Chase, Elliott Gould status here. I think it's your third or fourth visit to the podcast. The commissioner of the Big West Conference, Dan Butterly. Always appreciate when he gives us a couple of minutes. And first of all, before we start, and we got some topics to get into, happy anniversary, sir. July 1st, 2025, your sixth voyage as commissioner of the Big West. And I will congratulate you on that because I do think, hey, the Big West now is better than it was when you started. And you told me an interesting story about how you actually got the job.
Yeah, crazy enough. I mean, obviously, Dennis Farrell decided to retire September of 2019, gave basically a 9-month notice that he was going to retire. And so the membership needed to hire a new commissioner. So in 2020, February of 2020, the job opened. Obviously, we know what happened in 2020 with COVID. I'm the only commissioner ever hired exclusively via virtual meetings. All three of my interview sessions with the membership were all done via Zoom. So crazy enough, opened up the new era that we're heading into in college athletics with virtual meetings. And as I said, Zoom is a 4-letter word because we're always doing meetings via Zoom now.
I mean, here we are. I don't know if that's good or bad, but here we are now. I mean, luckily, I might be able to have access to you if weren't for Zoom. So you take the good, you take with the bad.
Absolutely. No, it's great to be here with you today. And yeah, it's crazy. 6 years. I think I'm the 11th most tenured commissioner now in Division One, just within
Mhm.
6 years. So it shows you how much change is going on across the country.
All right. Speaking of that job that you hold,
Yep.
the commissioner of the Big West, and a new school year just started. And I don't think people really get the breadth. And again, like I said, I always appreciate when you give me a few minutes because people don't understand the breadth of what you're doing. I mean, you're running a conference and you're in constant communication with many people, but bring us up to date. How many committees is it now? Have you dropped any? Have you picked up more since we last spoke?
I've dropped off a couple. I'm no longer the chair of the Collegiate Commissioners Association, group of 22, which is the
Mhm.
non-FBS commissioners. So fortunately now I just get to participate in those meetings and I have to develop agendas and supplements and formulate strategies and do those type of things. So on the CCA side, I've dropped off a couple, but still obviously actively involved in the CCA, the Collegiate Commissioners Association, those 32 conferences that form together for that group. But NCAA wise, still chair of the NCAA Division One Men's Basketball Oversight Committee. Also, hasn't been officially announced yet, but quietly, have been named to the NCAA Division One Administrative Committee, which replaced the NCAA Council. So, as I battled for the Big West voice all spring and summer long, as part of this new NCAA governance overhaul, I have
Mhm.
been named to the Administrative Committee. So it's a good day for the Big West in that respect to be on that much smaller but very powerful committee.
And then I know I saw on Twitter that you got some R&R. You got a vacation. Can I ask where'd the family go? Was it just you and the wife? Was it the family? Was it a larger group gathering?
It was a larger group gathering. My mom passed away January 1st, and one of the things that she wanted us to do was make sure that we got together as a family. And we went over to, we were big Disney people. My parents
Oh,
introduced us to Disney early on in life, back in the 70s. We would go down to Disney World for Christmas. My dad was a painter and decorator. Nobody wanted their house painted and decorated during the Christmas holiday. So we would go down there in a travel trailer at Disney World down in Orlando. So introduced to Disney early. So we did a Disney cruise amongst my family, my larger family, over in Europe for 1 week. So
oh
just
wow.
try. My mom left us a little bit of inheritance. We took advantage of that opportunity to spend that time on her behalf. So greatly appreciate that.
Did you fly out of Ontario Airport? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I was just joshing
No,
with you.
it's funny though. I was spotted in Ontario airport last week, and photos got around that I was in the airport. So that was a good.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Um, so this next chapter, and obviously everybody's kind of guessing what's happening next.
Mhm.
I'm a big Bill Carter fan. I don't know if you're a fan of Bill Carter. He used to write for the Times, and he wrote a couple of the favorite books that he wrote a book about Monday Night Football. It was co-authored, and then obviously The Late Shift to me is kind of his masterpiece. And we have all that going on now in college athletics. Action, intrigue, adventure, and yes, Dan, even a little romance every once in a while. The Big West Conference has gone through some changes. Let's do the plus first. And I was on a couple of those press conferences. They added three institutions: CBU out in Riverside, Cal Baptist University, and then Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah, and then finally Sacramento State completed the circle for the Big West Conference. I know you've been asked about this ad nauseum, so
Yep.
adding those three schools, obviously in response to UC Davis and Hawaii deciding to move on to the Mountain West. Let's start at that point right
Yep.
now. What's that commissioner's statement on the addition of those three schools?
Well, obviously, I think we greatly boosted the strength and competitiveness and the national visibility of the Big West by adding those institutions. Sac State's been out there a lot relative to FBS football, and
Mhm.
their president Luke Wood is very strong leader in college athletics in many ways, trying to boost that program. So we're excited about the addition of Sac State up
Mhm.
north to replace UC Davis in the Sacramento footprint for us, Northern California, and then obviously Utah Valley with their 47,000 plus students on that campus and their highly competitive programs, leading the WAC in many ways, won the WAC trophy over the years, the all sport trophy. And then obviously Cal Baptist, extremely strong, great footprint for us. First private institution in quite a while for the Big West, but an amazing
Shout out Pacific.
institution.
Shout out Pacific Tigers.
Very,
Yeah.
very true. I was gonna say Pacific was the last one, but
Yeah.
literally, I'm excited. I was at Cal Baptist last week. Spoke to their athletic booster group. I had a great conversation with their athletic department there. Sat with their president during lunch. So just had it's a great three additions to the Big West to strengthen our membership moving forward.
How did you get UC Riverside to go along with that, or were they along from the beginning? So that's kind of the question. You watch the old what is it, Requiem for the Big East, and Dave Gavitt kind of had a way of kind of moving continental plates sometimes when guys didn't agree. Was it a fairly smooth process with UC Riverside, or was there any resistance when you finally added CBU?
Now, I think more than anything, the commissioner's got to make sure that his or her membership, is on board with membership expansion and the candidates that you're taking a look at the institutions. And UC Riverside was on board from the very beginning. Obviously, it's
Okay,
a
okay.
big rival for them, but Chancellor Wilcox and Director of Athletics Wes Millett, who unfortunately both have left now UC Riverside. Chancellor Wilcox retired, and Wes went to South Carolina. But both were very much on board and very excited about the addition, and it really creates that crosstown rivalry. It makes it more important because now it's a conference series instead of just a non-conference situation.
Yeah. And I mean, you and I are the same generation. I don't know how much you followed the Big West when like we were in college and kind of
Mhm.
into the late 90s, into the 2000s. But I mean, the Utah presence, and I said that when I got on the press conference with you guys, I think it's wonderful because when Utah State was in the conference, and it was mostly California schools even at that point, and they were always a great partner in the conference. And I'm excited about the kind of energy the fan base from Orem and Utah in general will bring to the Big West when we go out there, when schools go out there. And obviously they travel real well when schools come here and they have a lot of alums up and down the state of California.
No, it's absolutely fantastic institution, and you look at just the number of Californians that have moved up to the Salt Lake City area over the last 5 years after COVID and relocations and remote work and all the other things that are going on. It's crazy how the area between Salt Lake City and Orem have exploded growth in that area since I was there last, and being on that campus. Their facilities are top notch. They just opened a multi-million-dollar soccer stadium on their
Yeah.
campus that faces right up there against the 15. So really excited about their addition. It's really easy to get there. You can fly directly into Provo from most airports in SoCal. Breeze Airways, Allegiant, others fly directly into that Provo airport. That's only minutes away from campus, but also Salt Lake City makes it really easy to get there as well.
All right. Now we get into the Leno Letterman part of the conversation, Dan. So in 1991, I think it was, or 90, might have been 92, when Johnny got up on stage at the upfronts and kind of said he was retiring,
Mhm.
and everybody was blindsided. There's a book about it. You can actually, I think you can even stream the film if you get like HBO, whatever the HBO Plus, whatever that is now. The Late Shift. Daniel Roebuck and John Michael Higgins do a great job playing Leno and Letterman in that one. Um, uh, it was announced that UC San Diego, who incredibly successful in this conference, and I was looking forward to them kind of being one of the dominant schools in this conference for many, many years, isn't going to stick around beyond next year. They've decided to join the West Coast Conference. Now, most people who follow this podcast also follow your bold type. So I know you kind of, I don't know how much you can really say that you haven't said in the bold type, but that had to be a surprise to you, or was that something you'd maybe expected?
No, absolutely a surprise. Got a text from the chancellor at UC San Diego saying, "Hey, can you?" This was on a Friday afternoon. Saying, "Hey, can you talk to me at 5 o'clock today?" And I said, "Absolutely. I'm always available to chancellors, presidents, ADs, anybody that wants to talk. More than happy to take that call or take that conversation." And
Mhm.
I was expecting one or two things that we needed to catch up on. He was on the Division One board of directors for the Big West and for the NCAA, so maybe something there, maybe a couple other items. His AD search was going on, maybe talking about candidates for that week, but obviously called and informed me that the UC San Diego was going to move to the West Coast Conference effective July 1st, 2027. Was definitely a shock. Had no inclination that they were even considering a move at that respect. So obviously had a conversation, tried to determine if there was anything that we could do to maintain their membership in the Big West. And Chancellor Kusla indicated that the decision was made and they were moving effective July 1st, 2027. So we have them this year. We have them next year. We're excited to keep them in the conference as long as we can. And you never know what the future may bring.
What's interesting is, and we had a little conversation before I turned the mic on. So, for example, when you decided, hey, we're going to try to go after CBU and Utah Valley, what is that process like for a commissioner? Now, are you in contact? Like they were both in the WAC, so were you in contact with the WAC, or is that something that you undergo with the actual ADs or presidents before you approach the conference? How does that all work?
I try to be professional with the other commissioners. If obviously I'm talking to one of their institutions about membership, or I contacted Rebecca Ray, who was the commissioner of the Western Athletic Conference, to inform her that we had reached out to Utah Valley and CBU and had talked to them about membership, and they were interested as well. They had been reaching out to me before that. We even reached out to them in that respect on membership. So I was in constant contact with Rebecca Ray, and I think she was greatly appreciative of that. We talked probably every few days, and it took quite a while. We did our official site visits late January, early February. The board of Big West Board of Directors met February 28th to offer invitations to CBU and Utah Valley. CBU accepted just a couple weeks after we announced right after the basketball championships were complete. Utah Valley took a little bit longer because of the unfortunate death of the president's husband at Utah Valley. So she took a little bit longer, and we completely understood that because generally June 30 is roughly the time you have to make a decision before you were to leave a year later for another conference. So we had plenty of time, and we're in no rush to make those decisions. And then Sac State was a little bit faster in that respect. But again, I generally have a commissioner will talk to a commissioner just to make them aware that you are having those conversations and kind of move from there.
Can you say anything about how that process went with UC San Diego? Did you have any contact ahead of time? I mean, I'm guessing you didn't because you said you were kind of blindsided.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, Chancellor Kusla reached out directly, informed me. So I have not talked to the commissioner of the West Coast Conference.
Okay. Now moving forward, there are a couple of pieces that we've discussed. Mark Patton's piece in News Hawk recently, he was talking about the decision, and remember, he's a UC Santa Barbara guy, so he was kind of talking about the decision in the context of UC Santa Barbara, and we'll get into that real quick. But I did want to ask you, one of the topics he brought up was kind of the inequity in terms of, the conference, the athletic budgets. Now, I know there's not much you can do. I know you and I and Tom Davis once were talking about it's hard to mandate things to happen because you don't know what's going on with that school. We were talking media stuff, but I mean, now I'm looking at it. If you blow the picture up a little bit, this kind of works into it. But he cited a fact where, hey, UC San Diego's budget is a little more than UC Santa Barbara's. They're in the $30 to $35 million range. Irvine's in that same window. And some of the Cal States are, 22, 23, maybe, I think what goes down to like 18 or 19. Is that a problem going forward? I'm guessing you've had conversations with those folks, ADs, presidents, chancellors, whatnot. Is that something you guys can? I know it's obviously a challenge, but you've been able to manage it thus far. It looked pretty good until this whole UC San Diego thing. So you don't want to overreact to one thing. You did bring 3 schools in who seem perfectly willing to accept that situation.
Yeah, and obviously every institution's athletic department budget is going to be different, and it's a situation. Every institution has a different sports package. UC Davis has, I think, 25 sports.
Yeah.
UC Riverside is probably closer to 16. I don't know their exact number off the top of my head, but an athletic department's going to ebb and flow based upon the number of sports you have, which sports you have, how many scholarships are available to each of those sports. You may have a golf program versus an equestrian program. Per se, or a rifle program that UC San Diego has. So the budgets are always going to ebb and flow unless you have the exact same sports profile. You're not going to have the exact same budget. So it's hard to compare apples to apples in that respect. The thing you've got to look at is more the investment in the core sports. Men's and women's basketball in the Big West are considered our core sports. What's the investment in those sports directly compared to other institutions in the conference? And I would say those are a little bit more equal Everybody's got a little bit different NIL package than others. I mean, some Big West institutions aren't necessarily in the NIL space, whereas some others are very much in the NIL space. We're still growing because we do not have the CFP4 revenues, the college football playoff revenues
Yeah.
that can drive. We're not required to be at the $20.5 million NIL threshold that those conferences and institutions are required to be at. We're going to be a little bit slower to get there, but I know pretty much all of our institutions opted in to the settlement, so they have the intent to be able to offer NIL, and I'm excited that most of our institutions will be able to do so. But to compare athletic department budgets is a little bit more of a challenge unless you're comparing the exact same sports property package.
Okay. And I know you probably can't reveal it, but I'm going to ask you,
Mhm.
when you had those discussions with UC San Diego, were there specific reasons you were given, or was it, UCLA just fired Deshaun Foster, and so UCLA said, well, thank you, Deshaun, and Deshaun just said, well, thank you, UCLA. How was that conversation? Can you get into that at all?
No, I don't want to get into it. I think it's
Okay.
one that obviously Chancellor Kusel and I had that conversation, and Chancellor Kusel had that conversation with the board of directors as well. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right. All right. Two-part question coming up. So, I've been hearing for a long time the West Coast Conference, they're getting a little restless because obviously we know now, Gonzaga leaving. Grand Canyon was supposed to be in the West Coast Conference. They took a quick U-turn. They made the turn at Albuquerque to the Mountain West Conference, which, working on that one for a while with New Mexico in the Mountain West Conference. But is there fear is a strong word, but are there concerns that UC San Diego is the beginning of a trend? I've heard that the West Coast Conference for a couple of years now, maybe going back to the pandemic, has been considering public schools because they know they were going to lose Gonzaga. And obviously, if you take UC San Diego, if I'm Stu Jackson, UC Irvine and UC Santa Barbara would be on the list, something that Mark Patton mentioned in his piece on Newshawk.
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, I've been involved in conference office at, college sports for 30 years now, 32
Yeah.
years now. And as I've said throughout my time, it hurts when an institution leaves your conference, but the institution has to determine what's best for their institution. It's not necessarily what's best for the conference, but we're fortunate that, we have 11 institutions that are very much rowing in the same direction. Our board of directors met a couple weeks ago. I feel very confident in the 11 institutions we have moving forward. Are in it together. I know the WCC, again, I have not spoken to their commissioner directly, but I have spoken to our board. I know that they have reached out to other institutions in the Big West. They did so 18 months ago, 2 years ago. It wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily, athletic director to athletic director or president to president. It may have been provost to provost in that respect to try to get in that direction. So I know that the WCC has been looking since they are losing member institutions. They've lost BYU, as you indicated. Grand Canyon came and went. Gonzaga is departing. St. Mary's is rumored to be considering other opportunities. So when you think Western realignment is completed, we thought it was done at the
Yeah.
beginning of July. Everybody was in their mode moving forward. We realized it isn't when UC San Diego made their decision. So we continue to have discussions with our institutions. I believe the 11 are firm moving together, and we'll continue to work in that direction.
I will say this: Howard Gilman, UC Irvine chancellor, has reasserted his commitment to the Big West Conference, and UC Irvine, my alma mater, go Eaters, zot zot zot, has never been in any other conference aside from the Big West Conference, and it'd be really disappointing to myself and a lot of the alumni base if they were to abandon the Big West, unless it was going to the Big Ten, obviously. But hopefully we can keep this together. Using the colloquial we as I'm not supposed to, but so part two of that question,
Mhm.
okay. No more UC San Diego. Potentially, other conferences have been in contact with Big West institutions. I'm guessing you have another short list because I think the other three that you already got off the short list, are there some schools still on that list, Dan?
There's always institutions on that list, and we know that we have institutions that are interested in the Big West. It's just rather whether it's a fit for the Big West in many ways. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, do we want to add additional private institutions? Do we want to look at potentially non-division ones moving into the Big West? And right now, our institutions seem very firm with the 11 that we've got, and that's the direction we're heading. But obviously, that could change at any time. If we do have an institution from another conference that has interest, we're going to at least talk to our board and our membership about it. We liked being at 12. We're currently at 11, and we'll see whether we stay at 11. similar to what we've been operating with since I came on board in 2020, or whether we look to add another here soon.
Speaking of the 12, actually, it dovetails into a question. So a little birdie told me, probably wasn't supposed to, that when the Big West does go to the 12 institutions next year, it's going to be a 22-game men's and women's basketball schedule. Can you confirm or deny that, or is that still in the works?
It's still in the works. I can tell you that
Okay.
we've all summer long, we've had two different subcommittees working on the future championships, what the championships will look like, what regular season schedules will look like, because you got to figure out what the championship's going to look like before you determine the regular season
Yeah.
schedules and how they move into the championship. But we do have a subcommittee that has made recommendations. Those recommendations are now moving into the governance process to be able to determine if that's the direction we want to go. One of the recommendations, one of the formats that we looked at was a 22-game conference schedule in basketball. And we'll see if the membership, the governance process moves to approve that for the 26-27 academic year.
Yeah. I'm looking, Bold Week is going to be a thing, Dan. I mean, your brainchild, those early couple of conference games, people are excited about it already because it gives you a taste of the conference schedule before Christmas. And I think that was one of those experiments. The Monday playing 3 games in a week probably didn't work out the way you wanted to, but I think Bold Week has worked out. You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. So,
Exactly. And obviously the membership really wanted to prevent the pre-Christmas games. So that's where we tried those 3-game weeks, and the member institutions realized the conference office was really against it. We pushed against it. We said nobody likes 3-game weeks,
yeah.
but the membership really wanted to try it, and that's the direction we went. And they realized they didn't like it in that respect. But again, college basketball is moving to a 32-game regular season schedule. No more requirements for you have to play in an MTE to get 3 more games. There's no more funny business about it. Straight 32 games. So if we were to play 22 conference games, that still gives every institution 10 non-conference games to schedule in November, December.
So, in wrapping up, I appreciate you coming on. I know this wasn't easy. You kind of made your statement in the bold type, but I always, you and I are the same generation. So I'll bring up the great film Cocktail with Tom Cruise and Brian Brown and Elizabeth Shue, where young Brian Flanagan, who played by Tom Cruise, says, everything ends badly because otherwise it wouldn't end. I'm not saying it's going to end badly with UC San Diego, but I thought they were a perfect fit in the conference, Dan, and you guys did a great job getting them in and successful. And I was looking forward to those, being an Irvine alum, that Irvine San Diego, UC San Diego, UC rivalry. And we'll see it for another year. I don't want to, or another 2 years. I don't want to, cry my beer before it's over. But it's unfortunate to see, but this is just, I guess it's the nature of in your office, it's kind of the nature of the beast, right? This is the business we have chosen, as Lee Strasberg said at Hyman Roth and Godfather too.
No, absolutely. And, it literally comes down to you're in a situation that you look at the Big West and the number of institutions that have been in the Big West over the years. I mean, the Big West survives. If the Big West continues to move on, we'll continue to be bold in our approach. And as Walt Disney said, keep moving forward. New doors will continue to open. So we're excited about where the Big West is going. Our institutions know who we are. We've been very transparent on that, and we continue to move in that direction.
Dan, again, I always appreciate you giving me a little bit of time. I know, you're restricted by a lot of different factors for what you can and can't say, but you're always really candid whenever you and I speak. So I appreciate that. And thanks for giving a couple minutes. Glad you guys enjoy Disney, and I'll see you next time you're up in the Valley.
I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully that'll be very soon.
He is the Big West Commissioner. He is Dan Butterly. Thanks for giving us a couple minutes on the podcast. We have more coming up after this.